What we are discussing right now represents the abilities that will shape both your personal world and your career in the most profound ways possible. These capabilities become permanent parts of who you are throughout your entire lifetime and will constantly enhance how well you live. While many of these abilities require significant effort to truly master, the benefits you gain from developing them are limitless. Skill 1. Mastering the art of learning itself. Taking the top position is the ability to understand how learning actually works. This represents the ultimate skill that unlocks everything else. When you truly grasp that any ability whatsoever can be developed through proper learning, your entire perspective on the world transforms into something that resembles a challenging video game where anything becomes possible. Steve Jobs once observed that everything you see around you was created by other human beings who possess no greater intelligence than you do. This concept stands as one of the most overlooked abilities that any person could develop, and it completely changes the game for those who embrace it. Individuals who have taught themselves various skills understand just how remarkably simple it actually is to develop competence in something completely new. However, the majority of people experience fear when circumstances force them into situations where learning becomes absolutely necessary. Skill 2. Developing flexibility, creative problem solving, and barrier-breaking abilities. This goes far beyond just being a memorable phrase from Bear Grylls' survival shows. These abilities actually provide you with the power to continue making progress and survive the difficult periods that you will definitely encounter during your life journey. Only people who lack understanding believe they have completely figured out their lives and expect nothing but smooth sailing from this point forward. Right, sure they do. Difficult times are coming your way. People you trust will disappoint you and break that trust. Situations will not always turn out the way you want them to. You will find yourself knocked down if this has not happened to you already. You need to change how you think about these challenges. Look for different paths and routes. Use your creativity and find ways to overcome whatever obstacles life places in front of you. When things start becoming more challenging, this actually means you are advancing to higher levels in the game of life. Skill 3. Achieving mental clarity and focus. You are not defined by your physical body. You are not defined by the possessions you have accumulated. You are not defined by what other people believe about you. You are fundamentally your mind and consciousness. Everything that creates your identity lives inside that protective structure made of bone that sits between your ears. That represents your true self. That determines what makes you uniquely you. Every decision, concept, thought process, want, vulnerability, and pain originates right there in that space. Based on what we have observed, most people can be placed into one of two distinct groups. Skill 4. Expressing your thoughts and emotions through words. You would be shocked to discover how many people cannot translate their beliefs, emotions, and opinions about various topics into clear, understandable language. This communication failure represents one of the primary reasons why relationships fall apart. One person in the relationship lacks the ability to explain to their partner what is bothering them or causing problems. Instead of communicating, they decide to hide those feelings of disappointment and frustration deep inside themselves until those buried emotions accumulate and eventually cause the complete destruction of the relationship. This communication problem extends far beyond romantic partnerships. The same issues occur between friends, workplace colleagues, and family members as well. People frequently feel too scared to express themselves when they have different perspectives or feelings. And this fear leads directly to living a life that never reaches its full potential. When you allow fear to control your communication, the direction of your life stops being determined by what would actually work well over the long term. Instead, your path gets shaped by unsatisfying compromises that nobody really wants. If you refuse to be completely truthful and actively participate in important conversations, it becomes easy to give up on situations because you hope something better will eventually appear. Unfortunately, none of the people involved benefit from this approach, and everyone ends up wasting valuable time that could have been used more productively. Skill 5. Mastering the art of persuasion and deal making. Every single thing you accomplish in life involves some form of persuasion or bargaining process. When you want to attract a romantic partner, you must convince them that you represent the ideal choice for their life. When you seek employment, you must demonstrate that your abilities and qualifications surpass those of all other candidates competing for the same position. And you even need to convince yourself that you deserve better than your current situation. You must persuade yourself that you have the capacity to become better and achieve more than what you are accomplishing right now. Persuasion does not mean deception or dishonesty in any way. Persuasion represents a logical approach where you explain clearly why your solution will bring genuine value to the other person involved. Persuasion means convincing others to work alongside you toward achieving outcomes that benefit everyone involved. This skill connects directly to the communication ability we discussed in the previous section. Existence itself becomes a continuous bargaining process with other people, with your own internal dialogue, and even with the limitations of time itself. Life represents a constant negotiation between the effort you invest and the satisfaction you receive, all happening within the constraints of available time. When you focus on doing things that people need and want right now, you are essentially negotiating to create a future where you can experience a lifestyle that remains unavailable to most other people. Skill 6. Understanding when to stay quiet, pay attention, and absorb knowledge from others. How many individuals do you personally know who simply never understand when they should stop talking and start listening instead? When you are the person doing all the speaking, you cannot experience any personal growth because you are only sharing information that you already possess. The only method for genuine improvement involves actively listening to what others have to say. We are talking about truly listening to another person, which differs completely from just hearing the sounds they make with their voice. Real listening requires paying careful attention, building a mental map of the information they share, which you can then access whenever you need to reference it later. Always approach conversations with the assumption that the person speaking to you knows something valuable that you have not learned yet. Do not allow arrogance to blind you to learning opportunities. Growing your knowledge and understanding matters far more than creating an impression that you already know everything there is to know. This fundamental difference separates genuine people from those who are just pretending to be knowledgeable. Skill 7. Developing the ability to motivate yourself. The initial step always presents the greatest challenge in any endeavor you choose to pursue. This happens because taking that first step requires you to do something you have never attempted before. It means placing yourself in unfamiliar environments, deliberately making yourself vulnerable to potential criticism or failure, and positioning yourself in situations where there exists a real possibility that you might not succeed. This is precisely where your self-motivation skills become absolutely crucial for your success. When you break it down to its most basic components, self-motivation essentially means finding compelling reasons to begin taking action on something important. This represents something you cannot accomplish without the mental clarity that we explained earlier in this discussion. Self-motivation provides that initial spark of energy that creates momentum for everything that follows. People who have developed the ability to motivate themselves will always maintain an advantage over everyone else around them. Skill 8. Creating and sustaining personal discipline. People fail to take that crucial first step because they do not have enough motivation to get started. And those individuals who do manage to take that initial step often end up quitting later because they have not developed sufficient discipline to continue. After you complete that first step, the journey ahead typically becomes relatively smooth and manageable until you encounter your first significant obstacle or challenge. Some days, you simply do not feel enthusiastic about continuing your efforts. You feel somewhat tired, maybe exhausted, and the whole process starts feeling boring and repetitive. So you convince yourself by thinking that maybe this particular goal or activity is not something you actually want to pursue after all. This happens specifically because of insufficient discipline in your approach. What discipline actually represents is an agreement you create with yourself that certain activities must be completed on a regular, consistent basis because the final outcome represents something that matters deeply to you. You make this commitment fully expecting that the process will be difficult and challenging at times. That expectation of difficulty represents the entire purpose of developing discipline. When you think about it logically, you do not need any discipline to eat ice cream every single day. You could maintain that habit for years and years because it feels fun and enjoyable. This stands in sharp contrast to achieving something of genuine importance and significance. If achieving great things were easy and enjoyable all the time, then everyone in the world would be wildly successful and extremely happy constantly. You must build and maintain a specific level of discipline that enables you to withstand the inevitable stress and resistance that you will face along your journey toward your goals. Skill 9. Managing your energy resources effectively. You begin each day with 100% energy levels, assuming you got adequate sleep the night before. Throughout the day, your energy gradually decreases until you feel completely exhausted by the end. Here's the important part that most people do not understand. Multiple different types of energy exist within your body and mind. Physical energy represents what most people think about first. This refers to how energetic or tired your body feels at any given moment. However, you also possess mental energy, which gets consumed when you need to concentrate intensely or engage in creative thinking. Additionally, you have emotional energy, which becomes depleted when you must deal with people and navigate social situations and similar interactions. This is where the concept becomes really interesting and important. Different activities and tasks consume different types of energy from your available reserves. People develop a bad habit of filling their days with activities that drain all types of energy simultaneously. They attempt to wake up early, maintain high productivity at work, sit through multiple meetings, have dinner with friends, and then somehow still expect to have enough energy remaining to go exercise at the gym. Then they complain that modern life contains too much chaos for all of these activities to happen successfully. Well, of course, that approach does not work effectively. When you observe highly efficient and productive people, you will notice that they organize their daily schedules based on the specific type of energy required for each activity, and they group similar energy-consuming tasks together. Monday might be designated exclusively for meetings and nothing else. Tuesday through Wednesday might be reserved for intensive creative work where they remain completely unavailable for other commitments. The end of the week might be allocated specifically for administrative tasks and similar responsibilities. The moment you start mixing different types of energy-consuming activities randomly throughout your day, everything starts falling apart and you feel unfocused and unproductive, which accurately reflects your actual performance level. Skill 10. Developing reading skills and comprehension abilities. To this day, we still find it difficult to believe how few people understand and appreciate the incredible power that books contain. The fact that you can learn from someone else's complete life experience in just a few days represents literally the greatest knowledge advantage available to anyone. It has never been easier than it is right now to gain access to valuable information, proven strategies, and expert advice from people who have already achieved what you want to accomplish. A single book has the potential to completely change the direction of your life. One page within that book could spark an idea in your mind that transforms your entire existence and future possibilities. Focus your reading on personal development and self-improvement rather than reading purely for entertainment purposes. Seek out books that contain real stories of someone's struggles embedded within the pages, along with the specific solutions they used to overcome those challenges and achieve their goals. Skill 11. Breaking complex goals into manageable components. This particular ability represents one of the fundamental reasons why we have successfully built and grown a thriving business. The majority of people focus their attention exclusively on the final outcome they want to achieve. They say things like, "I want to accumulate $1 million," but they never take the time to break that goal down into actionable steps. What specific actions does it actually take to reach that financial target? How many individual sales transactions do you need to complete? What specific things need to happen during each month, each week, and each day so that when the year ends, you can successfully hit that ambitious goal? If you are not taking the time to break down a major goal into individual milestones and checkpoints, then you are not really planning at all. You are just engaging in wishful thinking and daydreaming about what you want to happen. Skill 12. Tracking progress and measuring results. You can only make improvements to things that you can actually measure and track over time. Almost every successful person monitors their progress carefully, regardless of what specific field or industry they work in. Once you can clearly see which actions produce good results for your health, you will naturally start doing more of those beneficial activities and fewer of the harmful ones. This seems pretty obvious when you think about it, yet most people never track anything meaningful in their lives. Skill 13. Developing emotional intelligence and understanding others. We are talking about seriously underrated abilities here. The reality is that you are going to have to deal with people throughout your entire life. We all exist as parts of a massive social system that depends on us working together effectively and harmoniously. Emotional intelligence provides you with the tools to have a smooth experience while navigating these potentially dangerous social waters. People who lack emotional intelligence often think that everyone dislikes them and believe that other people are unfairly getting promoted and advancing in life for no good reason. Emotional intelligence represents a learnable skill. It involves your ability to interact effectively with people, to understand their perspectives and motivations, to communicate with them clearly, and to motivate them toward positive action. Skill 14. Maintaining self-respect and standing up for yourself. Speaking of personal values, do you actually know what principles you stand for? Do you understand who you are as an individual person? Once you gain this self-knowledge, you can start making decisions and taking actions that align with your true identity. You will stand firm in your beliefs. You will not allow other people to treat you poorly or take advantage of you. People will treat you according to how you treat yourself. not based on how you treat other people. Skill 15. Creating ideas that provide real value. We have already established that your mind represents the most powerful tool you have available in your personal arsenal. Think of your mind like a large piece of fertile farmland where you can plant whatever crops you choose. Your mind does not care what you decide to plant in it. It will simply do its job and grow whatever you give it. Some people plant useful trees that bear fruit, while others fill their minds with weeds that serve no purpose. If you can take proper care of your mind, you will develop the ability to produce high-quality ideas that will bring joy, success, and fulfillment into your life. However, just like with a real tree, your mind will not bear fruit overnight. None of these skills are easy to master completely, but once you do develop them, you will enjoy the benefits for the rest of your life. So it definitely pays enormous dividends to invest your time and energy in acquiring as many of these abilities as you possibly can. Since you have stayed with us until the very end, you are getting a special bonus skill. Bonus skill, the ability to predict future outcomes. This particular skill comes as close to cheating at the game of life as anything you can possibly do. It functions like a superpower that allows you to look into the future and decide which version of that future you want to actually live. Every single day, you find yourself sitting at the crossroads of life. You have the power to change directions, pick between different options, and adjust your course whenever necessary. This is precisely where this skill becomes incredibly valuable. Let's say you find yourself undecided between becoming a doctor or an engineer, just for the sake of this example. All you need to do is simulate in your mind what your life would look like if you pursue each of these career paths, and then see which outcome you would prefer to live before you commit to it. The more detailed you can make these mental simulations, the more accurate your predictions will become, which results in making better decisions for your future. What would your life actually be like if you continue dating this particular person? Will you genuinely be happy with them, or are you just scared of being alone? Simulate your circumstances for both the immediate future and the long-term future. The more situations you practice simulating, the better you become at predicting what will actually happen in real life. For example, after simulating all of the possible arguments you could have with someone, you will be able to choose the approach that gets you the best result with the minimum amount of negative consequences. Too many people jump directly into confrontations without analyzing the situation first, and then they complain that the outcome is not what they wanted to achieve. This is why people spend time reliving moments from their lives in their heads, thinking, if only I had done it this way instead. Well, you can avoid that regret, but you have to simulate that situation beforehand so you do not end up living with that disappointment and regret later. Let us help each other grow. Drop your favorite personal development book or tool that helped you build any of these skills. If you found this video useful, please like it and subscribe to the channel. There are more videos on this channel that will help you become a better version of yourself.